Ready. Chit-chatting here.
Good morning, everyone. The Delaware County Commissioner meeting for March 12th, 2018 is now in session. Would you stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good morning, everyone. I'd like to introduce the people up front. Commissioner Lewis, my Vice President of the Board, to my right, and Commissioner Benton, our fellow Commissioner, to my left. Jennifer Walraven, our clerk today, and our Administrator, Mike Fromer. With that, let's begin.
Resolution number 18-242 in the matter of approving the electronic record of proceedings from regular meeting held March 8th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-242. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
We do not have any public comment or elected official comment today, so that brings us to item number 4, resolution number 18-243, in the matter of approving purchase orders and now certificates and payments of warrants in batch number CM APR 0309.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-243. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-244 in the matter of approving travel expense requests.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-244. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-245 in the matter of approving the recording and indexing of proceedings and allowing for the live streaming of commissioner sessions for the Board of Delaware County Commissioners.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Is there any differences in this and the old, or is this just a renewal?
This it specifically addresses the idea that our sessions will be available on a YouTube video to people.
And nothing else changes. Just want to get, for the record, just want to make that clear. Okay, vote.
Vote on motion 18-245. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-246 in the matter of approving sanitary sewer improvement plans for Berlin Manor, sections 1, 2, and 3.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
Morning, Commissioners. Tiffany Mag with the Regional Sewer District. These plans have met all of our requirements of the district, and we're requesting your approval.
Questions, discussion, vote.
Vote on motion 18-246. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-247 in the matter of approving a services agreement with Macy Environmental Labs for North Star Wastewater Treatment Plant groundwater monitoring.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
This groundwater monitoring is required by our Ohio EPA NPDES permit. So we're requesting your approval for us to do a 2-year contract with Massey Labs, who will come out and perform the monitoring for us as they have in the past. This is the same price as we had on our previous 2-year contract.
Any questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-247. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-248 in the matter of amending the Child Placement Services contract between the Delaware County Department of Job and Family Services, the Delaware County Board of Commissioners, and provider Buckeye Ranch Incorporated.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Lewis, second by Commissioner Benton. Discussion.
Sorry.
Good morning, Commissioner. Steve Sikora with Job and Family Services. I'm looking today to get your agreement on a second amendment to the contract with Buckeye Ranch. This will, we have just placed a teenager there. She will be 18 in June, so we expect that funding to reach through June, but the contract would still go until December 31st of 2018.
Any questions or discussion? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-248. Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Resolution number 18-249 in the matter of declaring the necessity of improvements for the project known as 2018 Delaware County Road Improvement Program, resurfacing of various county and township roadways, and approving plans, specifications, estimate, and setting the bid date.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Rob Riley, Chief Deputy Engineer. This is our annual road resurfacing program. The highlights of this year's program, we are proposing to resurface 38 miles of county roads, and through this contract, however, it would be contracted by each township an additional 58 miles of township roads. The contract estimate for the county portion is about $2,746,000, and then the township portion accounts for another $5.1 million. So in all, it's about a $7.8 million program, which is a really sizable resurfacing program for a county. We think that, as in years past, that attracts, causes our bidders to sharpen their pencils, if you will, and give us the best price they can, because that's a sizable amount of work even for a large paving contractor. So again, I think this is we're hopeful for good prices this year. Not exactly sure what to expect in terms of oil prices. They've been up and down, so we don't yet know. We haven't had enough other surrounding bids to see from nearby counties to see what the prices are going to be. So we're anxious to see that.
As the county grows and we add more roads, resurfacing is going to become a bigger and bigger part of our budget. That's just a statement more than anything else. So, but it will become a bigger issue as time passes, I'm guessing.
I agree, Commissioner. We have currently about just under 340 centerline miles of roadway, county roads. So this 38 miles is about 11% of that. Now, that's not all paving. Some of that is preventive maintenance treatments like sealing that don't necessarily totally repave the road, but extend the life of the road. So there's no question, you're absolutely right. We'll have to increase this just to keep pace with normal deterioration. But I think this is a good program for this year, and keeping in mind all the big road expansion projects we have over the next several years, we're trying to keep our resurfacing program kind of at the minimum sustainable level, freeing up the cash for those bigger projects.
I know there's some variables, but what's the life expectancy of a road before it has to be resurfaced?
Yeah, that's a great question. Generally, for an asphalt surface, that will typically last about 12 years, give or take. What we try to do, we kind of embrace what's called the pavement preventive maintenance philosophy. So instead of waiting until the asphalt has failed, we will typically try to get to that asphalt surface in about year number 8 or 9, and then apply some sort of seal to it. That's often a microsurface treatment, which is a very thin liquid applied surface that gets you another 7 years on average. And so in doing that, it's a less expensive process, gets you some more useful life out of that asphalt surface.
Does traffic have a large influence on how often they have to be repaved? Because in the northern half, there's probably a lot less traffic than the southern half county roads.
It certainly does, and it also can determine the types of treatments you can use. For instance, we do a lot of chip sealing on our roads in the northern half of the county because they are lower traffic. We can't chip seal South Old State Road just given the traffic volumes. So there's certain roads where you can have certain types of pavement surfaces, and that certainly has an effect on cost.
Questions or comments?
Vote on motion 18-249. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Resolution number 18-250, in the matter of approving owners' agreements for Brighton Woods Section 1 and Red Bank Road widening, Brighton Woods Section 1.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion?
This is a small subdivision in Genoa Township off of Red Bank Road. Also includes some road work to widen for the entrance to that subdivision, and we're recommending approval.
Question on that. Since I passed it this morning, and there's a lot of construction going on in Brighton Woods, but how many homes? Do you know?
Let me see. I may have that. Give me just a second. Looks like 13 lots.
Okay, 13.
And that's just in Section 1. I'm not sure how many overall that subdivision has.
Oh, okay. With Red Bank Road, there's always been a problem there and trying to, get bike paths there and then with widening it, right next to Hoover. Where are they going to widen it? I know the entrance there right by the development.
Yeah. I can get you some more information on that.
Okay.
I don't have that handy right here, but I'd be happy to send you kind of a summary of what the road work will include.
Yeah, on either side, there are fences too, so people, obviously.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how much
Okay.
impact that will have on the adjacent properties, but I can certainly get that to you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-250, Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Resolution number 18-251, in the matter of approving a ditch maintenance petition and the ditch maintenance assessment for Cheshire Wood, Section 3B.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
This is a ditch maintenance petition for a 35-lot subdivision off of Cheshire Road being developed by Homewood. This is our standard expedited development drainage maintenance process, and we recommend approval.
Questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-251, Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Resolution number 18-252, in the matter of approving the plat of subdivision for Nelson Farm, Section 2, Phase C, Part 1A, and Liberty Trace, Section 3, Phase B.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
Nelson Farms, Section 2 is a 12-lot subdivision, and Liberty Trace is a 32-lot subdivision. The plats for these two developments have been approved by all the required agencies, and we're recommending your approval.
Questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-252, Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Resolution number 18-253, in the matter of approving right-of-way work permit summary sheet.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion.
We had two utility right-of-way permit applications, nothing out of the ordinary, so we're recommending approval.
Questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-253, Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution number 18-254, in the matter of appointing a member to the Delaware County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Benton, seconded by Commissioner Lewis. Discussion.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jane Hawes, Communications Manager. We have before you a resolution to appoint David Moser to the Delaware County Board of Developmental Disabilities. As you know, he brings a really unique background and experience on this topic, and we recommend your approval.
Questions or comments? Discussion. I'd just like to say, the interview process, I thought he was exceptional, did a really good job of presenting what he can bring to that board, and so I think he'll be a good addition.
Yeah, his experience with the board in the past as part of the prosecutor's office, I think will be especially helpful. So, and he helped Chris during the transition.
I was really glad to see that he applied.
Yeah, I think it's a really good add to that board.
Yes.
Any other comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-254, Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution number 18-255, in the matter of approving the document imaging products agreement between the Delaware County Board of County Commissioners and Endicott Microfilm.
So moved.
Just a second.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Benton, seconded by Commissioner Lewis. Discussion.
All right.
Now you can go.
All right.
Good morning, Chris Shaw with the Record Center. The Endicott agreement before you is for equipment at the Record Center, and the amount of that agreement is the same that we paid last year, and we are requesting your approval.
Questions or comments? Vote.
Vote on motion 18-255, Mr. Merrill.
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Benton.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, we have a hearing scheduled for 10 o'clock. Obviously, we're a little early, so why don't we go into administrative reports and quick reports. Mr. Palmer.
Yes, it's been things have been pretty busy over the last week or so. I had a meeting here with members of the Finance Authority to talk about a shared services agreement, and then I attended their board meeting that evening. They're currently in the process of talking with some of the local utilities and get a feel for Delco and Consolidated came in to talk to them about their capabilities and things. So I thought that was a pretty good meeting. We've sent back to them a revised version of the shared services agreement. So hopefully that'll work its way through. Also, Chris Bowserman, Rob Riley, and myself met with the city on the Appoint project last week. And I think we learned a lot about the project and what it entailed, and agreed as the city further refines the design of the project to get back together and talk about it. Also, on the sewer district side, we had a quarterly coordination meeting with Delco. We always find it very informative to meet with them and talk through some of their challenges that are very similar to ours, and I think each of us usually get a couple ideas out of that meeting. They're in the process of doing a strategic plan. They're in the process of doing, and I did this at my previous company, what is your why, what is your purpose? So instead of, you're not going to see quality on tap, I think much longer as their tagline. So also this week, I think on the 13th, Bob and I are going to Brown Township to talk through the 36, 37 corridor information. So that's all I have.
All right.
Commissioner Lewis.
Well, we have the State of the County tomorrow, 11:30 at Ohio Wesleyan, so we're looking forward to that and seeing everybody. And Wednesday morning, I go to Family and Children First, and that's all.
Mr. Finn, you've got 12 minutes here.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy, okay.
I don't think I have 12 minutes worth of material. I think we're expecting a big crowd tomorrow. I think 170-ish.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's what Jane said. So that very well attended. And then Thursday we've got the presentation with the chamber. Source Point over lunch. DKMM, we have a workforce meeting on Wednesday, I think it is, and then tomorrow evening, interestingly, I'm meeting with the Northwest Neighborhood Association, who has expressed a very, very strong interest in what we do with the historic jail. So I'm meeting with them to talk about the background of the decision and their interest and so on. I mean, everything we've heard is that we're getting a lot of interest in it, so it looks like we'll save it, certainly, and then we'll hopefully repurpose it into something that the community will really embrace and put to good use. So that's all I got.
Yeah, I think potentially that's a great asset. Well, it is a great asset for the county, and making sure, I think in our role as commissioners, we just want to make sure that it is conserved and saved and maintained, and that certainly will be a criteria I think we'll all be involved in as we evaluate whoever and whatever proposals are made. I had attended the Health Advisory Council, the annual meeting last Thursday evening in my role as president. And just to restate, yes, tomorrow we have the State of the County. It'll be our first ever State of the County outside the chamber, which I think we're very much looking forward to, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity for people to get a little better familiarized with what's going on in our county and how excited we are as commissioners with what's going on. And then Thursday, we'll make a presentation to the chamber, the State of the County in a little different format, but for the same purpose, to inform that group, which we have done annually for a number of years, and we're looking forward to that as well. I really don't have anything else to discuss, so I think we'll just recess till 10 o'clock, and then so in 10 minutes we'll get back together.
Okay.
We could talk about how Oklahoma snuck into the NCAA
We're in
tournament.
recess now.
Yeah, that's
For March 12th is back in session, and with that, Jennifer, I'll turn it over to you.
Resolution number 18-256, in the matter of opening the public hearing number 1 for Delaware County's PY 2018 Community Development Block Grants.
so moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-256. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Turn it over to Ms. Jackson.
All right. Good morning. I'm Jenna Jackson, the Economic Development Coordinator. This morning, we're going to have our first public hearing for the Community Development Block Grant Program for program year 2018. And I have our consultant from Pogemeyer here, and I will turn it over to her now.
Hi, I'm Gail Plazinski with Pogemeyer Design Group, and I think you all have a handout in front of you. It gives some basic information about the Community Development Block Grant Program. The state receives its funding from HUD. They get about $40 million every year to give out to eligible entities within the state of Ohio. The programs that are available and the funding that is allocated to those programs is listed in the table on the front of the handout. And we're talking specifically today about the Community Development Program. So we're looking right in the middle of that table, about $20,400,000. That includes the neighborhood revitalization, the downtown revitalization, and the critical infrastructure program as well. The Community Development Allocation Program, those funds are actually allocated to each county, specifically in an amount that the state will determine. And Delaware County had received previously for 2016, which was a 2-year combined, $264,000. 2017, the state started funding every other year. So beginning this year with 2018, you'll receive an allocation from the state that will be good for 2 years. And the county will not receive an allocation then in 2019. You'll have to wait until 2020. The grant floor for the new 2-year program is $150,000. We are guessing that you will receive somewhere over $200,000, but not more than the $264,000 that you had received for the previous 2 years. You'll have 24 months to complete projects with this new program. And you should find out your official amount from ODSA in April of 2018. Based on the $264,000, you'd be looking at funding 5 projects. If it is less than that, that number of projects may change. It'll depend on the exact amount of money that you do receive. And with community development, you'll have your allocation program to fund things like public infrastructure, streets, sidewalks, things like that in the various villages and towns. The county can also apply for 2 competitive set-asides, and that would be neighborhood revitalization, which is an up to $500,000 grant, and the downtown revitalization up to $300,000. Those would probably be grants that different communities or villages might come to you and say, hey, we're interested in this, and that would be something that runs through the county on behalf of the individual villages that might be interested. The maximum request is what I just specified, $300,000 for downtown and $500,000 for neighborhood revite. And you can use your county allocation funds as a match toward those competitive set-asides, and the state does encourage that if there's interest there. And you are only eligible for neighborhood revitalization and downtown revitalization in the same year that you receive your allocation funds. So those 2 grants, if anyone was interested, would need to be applied for this year. On the off year, which would be 2019, you are still eligible to apply for the critical infrastructure program, which used to be a competitive set-aside, but is now more of an open cycle program similar to the residential public infrastructure. So the open cycle program, those applications are due June 15th of 2018 at the same time as your allocation funds, and then the first round of funding is due again mid-June of 2019. Those funds will remain available to communities in particular funding rounds. This year the state did 3, and as long as the money is still there to be given out. They're looking at a maximum of $300,000, and they do require a 10% local match in order to even apply for those funds. Critical infrastructure is more of a one-component project, a sewer line in a residential area, water line in a residential area, things like that. Any Cdbg project does have to benefit low and moderate income households, and the state is looking at that as being at least 51% LMI, or serve limited clientele groups such as the elderly. You can also get projects qualified under slum and blight, and that would be, something similar to like demolition of a substandard building, things of that nature. And the CDIS, which I understand you updated last year in conjunction with the City of Delaware, does not need to be done this year. We will use that guide to kind of take a look at what projects people came forward with, and hopefully some of those people will apply for the funding this year. The caps on the grant funds, the county must allocate money for administration and fair housing, and you're looking at a 20% cap for both of those items combined. 15% of your total grant could be used towards public service activities, and the state does require communities with high RLF balances to use those funds to undertake any planning activities. They don't want to fund that with Cdbg money. They want you to use your RLF funds for that. The county will solicit funding requests from eligible applicants within the county until Friday, April 20th at 4 p.m. And once we receive all of those funding requests, you'll of course make your decision about which projects to fund. And then the second public hearing will be held probably in late May, announcing the projects that have been chosen to be applied for the allocation funds. Again, that particular grant is due to the state on June 15th of 2018. Eligible Cdbg activities, rehabilitation of centers for the handicapped, clearance, slum and blight, demolition, code enforcement, curbs and sidewalks. Some communities do home repair programs with their Cdbg funds, neighborhood facility improvements, equipment for public facilities. Infrastructure is always a big use of these funds, streets, sidewalks, water lines, sewer lines, that type of thing. Removal of architectural barriers, ADA modifications, senior center improvements, and the like. The 2018 program will start in September of 2018 when the grant agreement is awarded, and then run through October 31st of 2020, with all projects having to be completed by August of 2020. No project can begin until the county executes their grant agreement with the state of Ohio, and that, again, should be around September. And then there will be an environmental review process that is completed for each of the projects within the allocation program. Properties over 50 years old would get submitted also to historic preservation for their review and clearance as well. All activities and projects are required to be bid through the Delaware County Commissioner's Office following Cdbg and county procurement procedures. And non-residential projects with construction costs of over $2,000 must pay the federal Davis-Bacon prevailing wage. And the county can conduct an orientation before projects get started. That's not a requirement. That's kind of if you so choose. If you have communities and villages that have not used these funds in the past and you feel that they need a little more education on your procedures and bid procedures and things like that, normally pay their own engineering and architectural fees and provide the project plans and specifications to the county, and then the county would incorporate all of that into the actual bid documents.
Succeeded.
Succeeded. Mr. Farmer? Why don't you come up to the...
Mike Fromer, County Administrator. On the funding for slum and blight property demolition, the county recently started a land bank. To qualify under this program, do there need to be specific properties identified in advance for the application?
It's nice if you know where the properties are, yes, because then you can conduct the environmental review and see what that's going. You can use it for slum and blight and say you're going to do maybe 3 residential properties and you're going to allocate a certain amount of money. So you can do that. You're limited again to slum and blight is it has to be less than, I want to say less than 50% of your allocation. So whatever your allocation is, there's a percentage that you can use.
How do you, Is it based on the property that's like being foreclosed on, or that the property, whether it's eligible for the low to moderate income?
Does the local jurisdiction have to deem it Solon Blight? Yes. It
Okay.
has to be certified Solon Blight. It does not matter where it's located, and it doesn't have to be in a 51%
Okay.
LMI area, but the property itself needs to be certified Solon Blight.
Okay.
So, hazard to health, boarded up, rodents.
Okay. Thank you.
The question?
Yeah, I had a couple questions. One topic we've discussed a lot in the past couple weeks is the historic jail. And I had a conversation with Jenna about possibly using some of this funding to make the jail ADA accessible. Is that a project that is feasible under this program?
It may be. What is the jail? I mean, is it empty? Is it used currently?
It's mostly empty, but it will be completely empty here in the near future, and we're going to sell it.
It's a county-owned building.
County-owned building.
Yeah,
It's just right over here.
ADA
next door.
accessibility is certainly something that is allowed through the program, yes.
Okay, does the LMI have to apply for ADA accessibility?
Not if it's architectural barrier, no.
Okay.
Is that better done by we have the building possibly up for sale. Is it better done by whoever buys the building, or is it better done by the county before the building were to be sold?
Yeah, if the county owns the building already, you could use the ADA funds right now. Now, I guess it would depend on who buys the building and then what their purpose is. Because Cdbg funds, depending on, I want to say, religious, church groups, certain other groups, Cdbg funds are, we can't spend them for those groups. So it would depend.
How about a for-profit venture?
A for-profit, probably not. I would have to check on
But
that.
it involves saving the building and making sure it stays functional for years to come. That's the purpose of putting it into the private sector. There's no...
Again, I think it would depend more on who buys it and what they do there and what their purpose is. Who are the people they're servicing?
And if funded, since it's on the historic register, it says that it would have to be approved by the Ohio Historic Preservation Office. The
Correct.
improvements would.
Yeah, if it's on the National Register,
It is.
you would have to run everything through historic preservation if you're using the federal funds, for sure.
I don't think that would be a problem, because I'm sure that we all want to save the building, and ADA accessibility is an important add to it.
There is another community that's working with a project right now, too, and they have been dealing with OHPO for probably a year, maybe longer.
Oh, I'm not saying it'd be quick.
Yeah, back and forth with, the special. So I'm thinking for this grant period, it might not.
Okay. What about trails? Another priority that we have as a county is adding to our trail system. We've got some projects identified. Is that a viable?
For CDBG funds, I know there are a lot of grants out there through ODNR that Pogemeyer works on. I specifically have not worked on those a whole lot, so I don't have a lot of information on that, but if that's something that you're interested in, I can certainly get that information.
So it sounds like you don't see many trails getting funded through
CDBG,
CDBG
no.
grants. Okay.
No, because there's other funding sources for it.
Right. Would LMI restrictions apply for something like that? Okay.
Not necessarily through the other grants, but through
Right.
CDBG.
Yeah. Who are the typical clients that do end up getting CDBG grants?
As far as for individual clients?
Yeah, who are the-
because CDBG is, throughout the state.
Right.
So all counties get it. What do most people use it for?
Yeah.
A lot of people do street resurfacing. A lot of people do sidewalks. They will put in the ADA ramps and the truncated domes. People have used it for the talking crosswalks.
Golf courses?
Sewers. Golf courses, no, we don't see a lot of that. Sewers, water lines, a lot of infrastructure,
This is the
honestly.
project we used for Ashley's water tower, right?
Right. Okay. And RLF funds, I hadn't focused on that before, that RLF funds are encouraged to be used in conjunction with or prior to? Or?
State always encourages the use of your RLF funds. They would like everybody's RLF balance to be near zero or at least constantly being used for economic development.
What do we have, Jenna, in ours?
We have about 200,000.
Okay. That's all the questions.
So if you wanted to do a larger project, more impactful project, again, we don't know how much money that you're going to get for this allocation, but if you got 250,000 and you wanted to throw another 150 in to do a larger project from your RLF, the state would certainly encourage that.
So all these projects that we're going to get between now and April 20th, the commissioner will have opportunity to review those?
Yes, you'll be the ones that are actually choosing those projects.
Can we choose projects even though people haven't applied for the projects? Can we initiate our own projects?
Correct, yes. The county can always initiate its own projects. Some grantees don't even solicit for outside projects because they have specific things in mind, a specific, street reconstruction that they want to do, things like that with their funding. A lot of that is more for the cities that get direct grants because they just get a smaller amount. And a lot of counties do solicit and end up doing just county projects.
Okay. Oh, good. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? So I guess at this time we prepared to close the hearing.
Resolution number 18-257, and the matter of closing public hearing number 1 for Delaware County's PY 2018 Community Development Block Grants.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-257. Mr. Merrill? Aye. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
With that, I believe we have need for executive session.
We do. Resolution number 18-258, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of employment of a public employee or public official to consider the purchase of property for public purposes and for collective bargaining.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-258. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye. Did you include compensation on that?
I know I was told to cross that off.
Okay. It was on my list.
Yeah, it was on my list this morning, too, but
That's the reason I was asking.
it got crossed off of there, so.
Okay. Very well.
Okay.
We've got about an hour.
All right.
And
Yeah, I'll get my coffee.
resolution number 18-259, in the matter of adjourning out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-259. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
We are recessed until 1:30 this afternoon, March 12th.
18-260. Oh, I guess we should recess. I jumped ahead.
No, I wasn't going to stop you.
We're going to need
The
to.
Delaware County Commission meeting is back in session from our recess until 1:30. With that, Jennifer?
Resolution number 18-260, in the matter of adjourning into executive session for consideration of appointment, employment, and compensation of a public employee or public official.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-260. Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye. With that, we're now in executive session.
Motion number 18-261, in the matter of adjourning out of executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. Vote.
Vote on motion 18-261. Mr. Benton?
Aye.
Mr. Merrill?
Aye.
Mrs. Lewis?
Aye.
With that, if there's no other business to bring before us, we are adjourned.